Hello and welcome back to 4 Deep Sports Talk on 1320 AM Radio WARA. This is Joe Dez right now with KC, also known as Catherine Conley, Justin Ferreira, also known as the Sportsmaster, and Lucy Gabrell, also known as the Paparazzi. This is going to be my final show before going to Michigan State. It's been a great time working for this crew. It's been an awesome time.
Oh, I'll tell you, Joe, it has been a pleasure. It has been a true pleasure. Our fearless leader has COVID, so he's home. He is going to be calling in shortly. The funny thing is, he has a little brain fog here and there, and I always thought he had brain fog, but he wasn't feeling too well when he got back from Indiana. Had a great time up there, made a lot of connections. As you know, last week's interview was incredible, actually. I thought that was one of the best ones we've done in a long time. But, Dominic is going to be calling in. And like I said, this whole hour is going to be dedicated to you because I think you have come a long way from being on the show, and it truly has been a pleasure. So with that being said, we have a special treat after the show out there, a beautiful, beautiful espresso cake. Quite yummy. And a special parting gift as well, which was picked out and suggested by my husband, Lou. So, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate that. That'd be crazy. But no, I feel like every time Dom has done one of the World Series so far, we've lost him for about 2 weeks after.
I know,
it's
right?
happened every time.
Right? Or anytime he travels anywhere.
Dom just has
I hear
terrible
ya.
luck for that for some reason.
I hear you. So you know what, Joe, when you started with us, tell us a little bit about where you came from, what you're doing, what you think you're going to be doing, and when you're leaving.
Yeah, so the way it all started was at first, like when I was thinking about what I wanted to do in college right after quarantine ended and everything like that, I was still trying to figure out.
So you were going to, and you still were, you graduated from?
Yeah, from Bishop Fee Bishop Fee High School.
Right.
And then I was planning on maybe majoring in business or something like that, maybe computer science, just one of the things that would make money but wouldn't be that fun to do at all. I wouldn't be enjoying it that much. And then one of my good friends, actually, who I lifted with after school basically every day, talked with me, and he was saying everyone wants to do business, but 90% of the people who do that aren't going to own their own business and be running everything. It's more of like the regular corporate level jobs. And I sat down and started thinking about what I actually wanted to do. And I realized that this has been something that I've always really been interested throughout my life. I like talking to people, and then I've always had a lot of confidence in showing this type of stuff. I used to, in front of classes, like be able to be offered either write an essay or present like a project and like act it out basically in front of everyone. I'd always pick that side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was looking back on the stuff I could do, and it was this. And one funny thing is, my voice has kind of been the same since about like 6th grade. Like it dropped in 6th grade, and all the teachers back then would tell me that I should do radio because of the voice, because it'd just be a 6th grader with a way too deep of a voice for middle school.
Right.
And then I started looking back on that stuff, and I started reaching out to everybody. And what was funny was I'm not sure if I've told you guys this story before, but the reason I had remembered WARA was in so my mom used to sign me up for like after school programs basically because she had to work a job and she had 6 kids, so needed to do that. And when we were there, she didn't read the description for one, and it was basically supposed to help ethnic kids normalize into American society was what it was supposed to be. And that didn't apply to me at all.
Right.
I was in the group, but So we got a tour though of this place of WARA. Like they gave us a full tour.
Oh, it was in the old building.
No, this building is.
This building?
This exact building. 'Cause
Really?
I remember walking through, seeing all the rooms because it was a couple of years ago. Was what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fairly new.
I
Wow.
know, pretty crazy stuff. And then when I was emailing everyone trying to find a radio station I work at, Dom responded here. And I came in for like the first interview. I looked around, I realized that I've been here before. Like this is where we took that walkthrough.
So you were led here.
Yeah, so I ended up coming back full circle, which is pretty crazy.
Oh my gosh, what a story! I don't recall that.
Yeah, I don't think I ever told you guys that. But that is how like everything ended up coming together was the main thing.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So what did you think when you came into this building? Because at the time it was fairly new.
Yeah.
They didn't have half the equipment, that they do now.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool still because I remembered You know the part in the back where it's kind of not really turned on too much, but you can see like the big conference room type things?
Yes.
I believe that might have been where I'd gotten the tour. It was like exactly there. So when I saw it with all the lights off, it was kind of mind-blowing to see because that was where I had seen when I was a kid. And then there's the updated side now. Like this whole place is basically new over here. Yeah. This stuff wasn't here before, and now it's really cool to see the whole progression and everything.
Isn't it the coolest thing just to sit behind the new equipment and like, oh, this is what this does, you know, pressing the buttons and just being in the broadcast group or area. It's just a lot of fun learning. Like you say, you're a people person like I am, and these guys too. You know, it's just a lot of fun. And when you connect with that, you find that, I can make a job out of this, you know, or I can be in this spectrum. So, you've done really, really well here. Have to say, really
thank you, Lucy.
Well.
One nicest part about this too is when you're looking at the whole broadcasting field, you see all the different types of equipment, like all these mics, obviously the soundboard, and you know that you're gonna have to figure out how to use that, but you don't want to drop like $3,000 in your own soundboard in your house. So being able to use it here has made it so much easier.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's something to aspire to as well, and it makes you well-rounded as a person, because you'll know, going into college or going wherever into another job, how to do the board. And they're all different, but they're basically all the same. You know, you turn on the mics, you turn off the mics. You put music under, you know, you put the headphones on, you're all set.
Yeah.
You're all set.
That's pretty universal for all these. I feel like it's not too different between them.
Of course, when I learned, it was total mayhem because I was like, I'm a color coordinated person, and so I love colors. And so I'm like, oh, what's this button for? Ooh. Not your normal red and green colored buttons there. So I had a lot of fun.
Even like playing on the keyboards, like I'm just imagining like one like that has like different kind of colors. Like
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's fair, Casey. Yeah, I've done that before too.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I could ever play that piano.
Oh, it's called practice.
Yeah. I'm also curious about something. Like, you had your Joe Des Hour podcast, and would that take place at Bishop Fee?
No, what it was around Christmas time. I had about 8 months of practice here was what it was, and then I ended up getting my own mic set up, my own like computer that I could control the mics on, and it had like a digital soundboard basically instead. And I kind of just did. My stepdad had an office that he moved down to Florida, but he still had a lease on the old office. So I got to use that for my studio for a couple months, and last month the lease ran up, so we lost the studio. But for about 5 months, we had a full studio for the Joe Des Hour.
Oh, so it wasn't at Bishop Fee?
No, there was a couple episodes. Like for March Madness, we did one with the basketball coach.
Oh,
and for the Super Bowl, we did one with the football coach at Fee.
Yeah.
But then most of them were just on my own, like on independent sides.
Oh, okay.
But no, what was cool about that is about a week ago, I released that documentary about the final season announcing I was telling you guys about, and it ended up being about 40 minutes long, and it came out really good. I was really happy with how it came out.
So would I find this on the YouTube channel?
Yeah, if you look up Joe Des on YouTube, it's the first thing that comes up, but the title was Every Dog Has Its Day, and it was supposed to relate to my dog Bentley, basically, because the two players that I mainly announced for, like the two best players on the team, are going to a school called Bentley, which is the same exact name as my dog.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we tried tying that in a little bit was the thing. Yeah.
Other questions, guys? I know you're kind of overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, Joe's not going to be here anymore.
How long have you been doing the Joe Des show for?
So started in January was what it is. Right after Christmas, I got all the equipment, all that stuff. Then about January 5th, I believe is what it was, maybe a little bit earlier or after that. Me and my friend Matt Peck sat down, got my friend Robert in, who's going D1 at Stonehill right now for football. He's going to be playing D1 football in college. It's going to be awesome. But they were my first ever episode, and when he had committed there, they thought it was going to be D2. It wasn't fully confirmed it was going to be D1. But the way it worked out, his first ever episode of the Joe Des Hour ended up having a D1 athlete on it. It came full circle. The final episode in the studio also had Robert back on. It was just a solo interview for him when the school switched to D1. And then he was the first ever interview in that office and the final interview in that office. So we basically got the conclusion and the beginning. It was pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did that come about, the Joe Des show?
Well, I realized I always wanted to build up my own brand was the thing.
Nice. There you go.
Yeah. Before the Joe Des Hour, like, I say that started in January. That's when the videos and all that stuff started. But the Joe Des Hour podcast started May of about 2020. Believe that's what it was. 2021 is what it was. 2020 is way too far back. But no, May of 2020, junior year spring was what it was. I would do the play-by-play for the different sports games, and then I'd cut down the areas in between where there'd be any pauses, any breaks. So it'd be like an auctioneer talking, basically. It'd be just talking the entire time. And it'd shorten the games from about an hour and a half to about 20 or 30 minutes. And I did 2 seasons like that. I did that spring season, and then I did the fall season of the next year of senior year. And then after fall, I decided I want to move this in a different direction and start doing the actual interviews. And then it's just evolved to the point where there's a documentary at the end now.
And so you do these at home or at school or?
So the interview, it was in the office I was telling Casey about earlier.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
I'll definitely have to check out that documentary sometime later on.
Yeah,
Thank you,
definitely.
Casey.
We'll have to click.
Yeah.
And where is it, on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube, on the Jodez YouTube page.
Okay.
Then if you look up Jodez, it should be the first thing that comes up. But if you look up Every Dog Has Its Day, but DAWG instead of DOG, then it should come up as well.
Are you going to continue it?
Yeah, in Michigan State,
Nice.
we're 100% doing. What it's going to transfer over to is I'm still going to be doing the interviews because I have a lot more D1 athletes there. I'm also going to get their view on different sports. It's going to be one thing, get their predictions so I can start posting those. But also, I'm going to be filming some of the behind-the-scenes stuff of that because people have never really shown what it's like going through the journey of broadcasting. A lot of different fields in that. There's going to be
Great idea.
Yeah, going to be a lot of times for sports games I'm doing that stuff, but also there's a type of program at Michigan State where you can go around Michigan interviewing different type of people, like you're on a news channel basically. So the behind the scenes of the travel of that type of stuff, I feel like people would be interested. To see that.
Absolutely. Any story that's interesting enough that relates to, interviewing and broadcasting, and people want to hear stories. That's what it's all about,
Yeah.
right?
No, exactly. And I feel like for this generation, especially because a lot of them grew up watching a lot of people on YouTube and stuff like that, they get a lot more interested in different sectors of people's lives and where it can go. And I feel like that's one that's never really been explored before. Like, you've seen people showing a lot of processes after all of it's been successful, but no one's really shown the process to get successful in broadcasting. So I think that'd be nice to have those updates in there.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
It's so exciting. I just get so excited when people come here and they intern and they go off and it's a whole new world out there.
Yeah.
It's just endless. I know. We're on our first break already.
Yeah, I know. I got sucked in for a second. Totally forgot about it. I looked
That's
up and it was
okay.
here. Okay. This has been Jodez, Casey, the Sports Master, and the Paparazzi. We'll be right back after this on 40 Sports Talk on 1320 AM radio. If you want to call in, it's 508-222-1320. That is 508-222-1320.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to 40 Sports Talk here at 1320 AM, WARA. You can call in at 508-222-1320. We are highlighting our very own Joe Dez as he is preparing to go to Michigan State as of next Saturday. So I believe we have a caller with us. Hello, caller. You are first to appear on 40 Sports Talk. Is this Dominic Damiano?
It is. Did my caller ID show up?
Hey, Dom, how you feeling?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Tested negative today. I'm just resting. I got into a stupid Netflix show called Stranger Things.
Oh,
I've just went through all 4 seasons.
Dom, did you never check that show out before?
No, I never have. I thought it was kind of stupid. It reminded me of the Goonies show.
Oh,
back in
yeah,
the
that's
day.
fair.
You know, when they find the pirate ship.
Yeah.
So then I'm watching. I'm like, oh, this is pretty neat. Oh, this is pretty neat. You know, it's based off like the early 1980s or whatever. So now I'm watching the season finale right now. I just shut it off. What a life I lead.
So, Dom, tell us.
Yes. Say again.
So, Dom, tell us your experience actually in Indiana.
Oh, I won't beat up on that too much because
No, that's okay.
Joe. But no, it was pretty good. They had a nice little. I guess the president of Massachusetts, who you guys actually interviewed twice, Mike Janicki, always raved about going to Vincennes. Mm-hmm. And all I could think about is, okay, I'm picturing a lot of cow feet, a lot of cow patties, and a lot of a lot of cornfields and stuff like that, and open lands. And of course, the first time it rained, I guess it's so unpredictable. You know, you worry about tornadoes.
Right, right. That's something you don't see out this end. So
no, but just like any, being my third one, I'll get to meet other people. I knew some of the people coming back. I didn't know the other ones, and stuff like that. So it was good to meet some other people that love to do what I do for basically nothing, because they basically put you up in. It's basically a glorified working vacation.
Mm-hmm.
But overall the baseball was awesome. I mean, I know it was only 10-year-olds. I thought it was going to be a little bit older kids, but these kids, I mean, some of these kids hit the ball like they're 13 years old as hard as they hit it, and it was just all around a lot of fun watching these kids compete.
I'm sure it was, right?
Oh yeah.
Wow, that's cool. What an experience.
It was. Hopefully I get picked to do another one. Hopefully, because you get picked, they can always tell you no.
Sure.
You know what I mean? To see what goes on with that. But
well, I'm glad you're back, and hopefully you'll be healing faster. So tell us what you think about Joe Dez's time here.
Well, I was really impressed how open-minded he was to other interns, because each intern has been unique since I had Lucy and before Lucy. You know what I mean? They all had their own certain way. They presented themselves.
Yep. And
they all had their strong points and their weak points, and a lot of the weak points I see is, what the heck am I doing here?
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen next? What's this guy expecting of me? What do I need to do? And that, the normal stuff. The normal stuff when you step in the waters you never been in before. Like again, and all people are different. But he is and still is, I believe, to this determined to see how far this is going to take him and where he wants to be.
Absolutely. I kind of felt the same way.
Yeah.
Just in his confidence and just being himself and how he started. I had no idea he was here before when this station was being built. Did you hear that story?
I did. I caught the end of it. So I was wondering if him and his folks took him to the. Remember that? Were you with me when they had the open house? I wonder
Here?
if Joe was referring to that. Yeah, they had the open house here. Do you remember that?
Oh,
We
I don't
invited-
think so. I don't think
Yeah,
so.
they invited us to the open house to look the whole place over when they officially made the. This is before they made the podcast room in
Yep.
the side room.
Yep.
I don't know if Joe was referring to the open house they had that one time.
You know, there is a chance. It was more of a
could be.
tour that we got as like an after-school program was the thing. So I'm not 100%
okay.
sure,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
this is a nice. Yeah, this is a nice.
He said
thing.
he does remember that big conference table that's out
Yeah.
in the hall over there,
Oh, yeah.
the big room before the TV studios. Yeah, it's pretty impressive, number one. But once you get it filled with up to speed equipment, up to date equipment, I mean cameras, and yeah, it's exciting. It's pretty exciting. But yeah, I had no idea he was here before. I thought he was talking about the old building.
Yeah, right. It was probably referring. Sounds like the school was on a field trip or something.
Right.
You know.
So, but yeah, being his last show here, definitely had put him in the hot seat and running the boards, and he's come a long, long way. And it's just so refreshing, number one, to see someone take it to the next level. So I'm really proud, number one. Can't wait to get to that cake out there, number two.
Oh,
and
you got another half hour.
Oh, yeah, I know. But we really want to, make this last broadcast with him pretty special. So what else do you got?
Oh, I got a lot of stuff.
Go for it.
We better make this a 2-hour show. Telling his mother he's not going to be able to clean his room today. It's not going to happen. Yeah,
That means he's not going to share the cake.
Oh, the cake will still be there. So, Joe, I was, if anything, if I can add to what Lucy was adding before I dive in a couple of questions I had for you. I think, if anything, anyone that left the show, they were able to bring out their own, not unique, well, yeah, I guess that's right, their own unique, they got to be themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And they got to learn how to be a radio journalist where these other kids that are going to school, and Joe's going to have an eyewitness of how nervous they're going to be.
Oh, yeah.
And he'll have the edge on. I'm pretty sure anyone that's ever left our show left with the edge.
Mm-hmm.
And if anything, college is going to groom him, try to get rid of his northern accent. Work on that. Oh, yeah. And then educate him on different practices you could add, which I've seen before, and talk to other professional broadcasters and stuff like that. And it's more going to be more of a grooming thing and a more educational thing on the history of radio and broadcasting. And then it's just going to come down to where he wants to be. Does he want to stop at college? Does he want to go professional? Because there's so many different opportunities all around the country. Everyone's looking for some type of sports broadcaster or some type of radio broadcaster around the country. If you think of the magnitude and how big the country is, it's really unbelievable the opportunities going to be out there and being so young.
Yeah, I feel like the industry has kind of boomed lately, too, as a massive thing. Like, there is kind of a need always for people to be talking about events.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then the other thing is, if you don't want to do sports radio, you can always go into be a meteorologist. They never get fired, and they're always wrong.
That's a good backup plan, Don.
That's the best back. Just stick your hand out in the middle of the day, walk out in the house, put the direction the wind's going, and pick a temperature, and say, hey, today it's going to be so and so, and you'll be absolutely fine. Like, oh, this is a genius. But so Joe, I know we're going to talk about. I know we mentioned, or maybe when I was talking to Lucy about talking about your 3 favorite shows and why were they your 3 favorite shows, and maybe you could mention some of your 3 favorite, not events, but situations or times on the station that come to mind.
Yeah. My bad, Dom. Had a little bit. Had to clear my throat right there. We're getting
I
out
think
of,
you're making him blush now.
Shut.
Am I? Did he choked up? Did I choke him up?
I think you did.
No.
Oh, wow. Hey, hold on, I gotta blow my nose.
Oh. I might do the same thing.
No, so number one event is pretty easy to figure out. That would definitely be when we had the whole banquet with all of the award shows that we were giving out. Like, got to see Lenny Clement Holbrook, got to see all the coaches. Through it. Like, it was just an awesome time. Then we got to try a lot of different interviews. Like, it wasn't just one-on-one or four-on-one. There would be certain situations where I'd be going fully independent one-on-one for an interview, but then there's another one where I'd be working with two people or I'd be working with just one other person. And it gave a lot more kind of semblance to how the chemistry will work with different size groups, because it's a lot different when you're trying to get one person on the same page as you versus four people on the same page as you when you're trying to talk about a certain topic. So I think that definitely stands out in my mind as probably the most memorable one. And then following that one up probably is Dom, you were on the basketball game that we did during the playoffs?
I'm trying to think which. Yeah, remember I took you to Brockton High, right?
Yeah, exactly. That one was one of my favorite ones that we've ever done because I got to try out color commentary for the first ever time. Really, it wasn't just play-by-play like it usually is, and it was a lot different experience just doing color commentary because you got to find out the little holes to fill instead of just talking the entire time. So that was a really nice experience to get because I got to see a pretty fun game and also just got to actually learn about how to do the other side of broadcasting instead of just saying what you're seeing exactly how it goes, but bringing in more facts that you knew from prior experience. And then for the third event, I'd probably say the women's basketball playoff game that we did. That one was also very nice because I was kind of mainly just doing camera there, but I never really got to actually be behind the camera, like moving it around, finding out how to zoom, how to make it focus, everything like that. And getting that experience is something that I'd kind of need because when you learn all sides of that, you can make it more of a one-man show if you really need to. If you know how to use cameras, you can set them up. If you know how to use mics, you can set them up by yourself. You don't have to pay a crew to do it for you. And it kind of just made the whole aspect of doing my own kind of area of this genre or doing my own area of this industry kind of a lot easier, not having to pay other people to control the cameras or pay other people to control the mics. And it's made it a lot more independent on my side, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
I gotcha. So, I mean, that was like my ultimate dream, and I probably mentioned this to Lucy before, to have and be blessed and have. I mean, I can count on one hand maybe how many people. It's not that I didn't think they were bad people, but I just didn't think this industry was going to work out for them because their mindset wasn't as a team player or whatever. But with that being said, what you just touched on is exactly how I wanted the internship to work. Not just radio, but, through color commentating. I mean, you see how I do play-by-play. It can be overwhelming, and not just homework, but it's kind of a quick study. And I think high school is the worst because you don't know all these kids, and you're trying to put numbers and names together, like as on tip-off or as they're warming up. Where in the pros and the college kids, people already know who these kids are. And the research again is still tough being a color guy. Because now you're trying to look up research. Okay, there's nothing generally in the paper or online like there is with college and pro, and you're asking the coach as he's trying to warm up his team. Hey, by the way, can you give me? You're trying to get some information, but you have, you know what I'm saying?
No, Dom's totally right.
More challenging. It's so challenging, and I've done that since 2005. Since I started this thing, it's always been the same. It's something that it's people don't appreciate, I think.
Yeah, no, 100%. In a minute, we're going to have to go to break, but right before we do that, one thing I did want to touch on that you kind of hinted towards was during those games, Dom would, right before the game, have me walk up to the coach with him and ask the questions about the players. Mm-hmm. But one thing about that is also kind of breaks down a fourth wall barrier between you and the game, and it makes you realize that's actual people that you're announcing. It's not just people that you're watching on screen talking about. You understand, I've had a conversation with this person. They live in reality. That's how it works. But no, I think that was definitely a big boost in confidence, too, is the thing. Because when you can go out, speak to a full-grown adult that you don't really know that well, it's a coach for a team, ask him personal questions about the players, it helps you a lot with the industry.
And even the players.
Yeah, even the players, when you talk to them, you ask them, find out what their names, relate them to the numbers are. It helps a lot just being able to make those connections. But so, Dom, we were ready for a second break. You want to stay on the line throughout the break, and then we come back?
Yeah, if you want me, just don't keep on mentioning the ice cream. You're going to make me hungry.
No, we still want you, Dom. We'll see you right after this. This has been 40 Sports Talk with Joe Dez, Catherine Conley, a.k.a. KC, Justin Ferreira, also known as the Sports Master, and Lucy Cabral, known as the Paparazzi. If you want to call in, it's 508-222-1320. That is 508-222-1320. We will be right back with more after this. Hello and welcome back to 4 Deep Sports Talk on 1320 AM Radio WARA. This is Joe Dez in for my final show before going to Michigan State University. Right now, we have Catherine Conley, a.k.a. KC, Justin Ferrer, also known as the Sportsmaster, and Luis Cabral, a.k.a. the Paparazzi, with us. Also have Dominic Damiano calling in right now. He's battling a little bit of illness. Hopefully he'll be fine soon, though. Looks like we should get Dom back soon here. And then, Dom, you still with us?
I am.
Okay.
Good.
Dom, next time you go to one of those World Series, I'm going to have to buy you a hazmat suit so we don't lose you for 2 weeks. Because I feel like every time we lose you for half a month right after.
You know, you're probably right. That'll want to go visit see the Patriots every other year, but then Justin's father says he's gonna put a petition because every time I go they lose.
I actually went to the game last night.
Yeah, the Panthers one?
Yeah.
That's awesome, Casey. Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, she got some really cool souvenirs there also.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Very
Did
cool.
Did she get us any pencils that say Patriots on it?
No, I don't think they had it at this time.
I don't blame you. It'd probably be like $20 a pencil.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
So like $40 a beer for something?
Yeah.
It's something silly like that.
Yeah.
And I actually got the yearbook, and it was actually $5, which is not bad.
Oh,
is
that
not bad.
isn't. For
Dang.
the yearbook?
Yeah.
Wow.
That is
Wow.
cool.
So, Dom, before we went into break, you had asked me the 3 main events that we had done, but also the 3 main guests that I remembered as memorable. I didn't really answer half your question, I realized, so I want to come back to that. But first one I wanted to start off with, Dom, was Lenny Clement Holbrook. She, one of the most impressive ladies to talk to. Crazy hearing her way of thinking, just the perspective she has from all the years in the sport and all the years dominating the sport, too, as well. She has had to view the game from a different way than I feel like everyone else has because of the success that she has. She coached an All-American team for McDonald's. That's insane. That's something that happens before NBA players go on the draft or WNBA players go on the WNBA. She is a living legend who we got to talk to and just actually view her perspective of high school sports. And it was really nice and refreshing to see that. But then after her was Tommy Morrissey. Okay, I was trying to remember the name so I wouldn't butcher that. Tommy Morrissey. The last time you went to the World Series down, I believe it was Palm Springs, right, Dom, or Clearwater?
Yeah, they actually corrected me the other day. It's West Palm Beach.
Oh, okay.
But it's a part of West Palm Beach, and I actually ran into the Florida president. Babe Ruth flew her down because, long story short, they weren't going to have a 1260, a small diamond 12-year-old World Series, and she was able to get three of the regional champions to come and participate. But anyway, she told me the name of the area, but it is in West Palm Beach.
Okay, wow. Yeah, okay. That's really good that we fixed that, actually. I think we call it something different every time we've talked about that event, I'm realizing. But no, talking to Tommy Morrissey there, that mind-blowing. Really cool kid to see. Feel like the fact that he's kind of had to be in the limelight a little bit throughout his life has given him a whole different perspective on a lot of different things. Like, he was on the Ellen Show when he was a small kid, and he's golfed with multiple PGA athletes. Like, he views the sports from a whole different perspective, and it was kind of pretty interesting seeing that side from just he was so young, but he seemed like he was a lot smarter than his age, I'd say, was the thing. Like, he would give full-fledged answers instead of just half answers. And talking to his dad, you could see how happy and proud of his son he was. It's like, it's so rare that you get that family relationship shown on a show like this.
Absolutely.
So that was definitely one of my favorites. And then, Dom, I'm actually going to need you to help me here because I do not want to say the wrong town name. Do you remember what town won the Women's Basketball Coach of the Year?
Oh, that was Norwood.
Norwood.
No, girls.
No, girls.
Oh, don't tell me. Last year was E. Last year was E. Oh, it was. Are you talking the Whitman Hansen coach?
Yes, Whitman Hansen. Yes.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank
Whitman
you.
Hansen. That was
If I
really
didn't
cool.
get that right, Nate Rollins would have chewed my butt.
Right? Right?
Yeah, Nate would not have been happy there. But no, Whitman Hansen, that was a really cool interview to do because it's pretty rare that you see a male coach in a female sport be that connected with their players. Like
Exactly.
he was an awesome guy to his players. That was so cool to see. They treated him like he was a family member. It was awesome. The team had basically adopted him as one of their own. It's so rare, I feel like, that you see that type of chemistry throughout a coach and their team. And the fact that it basically cut off gender roles like that. It was a male coach, obviously teaching the women's team, and they were so close. Like, there was no weird lines drawn. Like, they were just like a family.
Right.
And it's hard to do. When there's a woman in male sports and she is able to make a connection to them, that's just as impressive. But seeing it on that side, I feel like it doesn't happen too often. And it was really cool to see him end up culminating at the end of the year as him getting the best coach for women's basketball that year. We got to see him kind of near the beginning of the season, I feel like it was.
Yep.
And you could see that they were all really good chemistry, but we didn't know how that would actually come out to on the court.
Right.
And the fact that it led to success and that they had a great season, it was just really nice to see a good conclusion to what seemed like a good beginning to a story. So those were
Absolutely.
definitely
And that says a lot for his coaching.
Yeah.
Also, a lot. Volumes, actually.
Yeah, it tells a ton because you can see coaches. Obviously, there's the whole tough love aspect where they'll be hard on their players, but some don't realize when to cut that off and then make it as you're a mentor. You're supposed to be having them feel safe around you. But you did a great job balancing that mix, I felt like.
Oh, yeah. Especially the opposite sex. I mean, who does that?
I know it's tough sometimes. Like it's really respectable how good of a job he did there.
Well, I can see Christine McDonald from the Norwood boys team.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
exactly what I was thinking of too.
Yeah, I think she's going to be I got to Google this before I say it, but if I'm correct, I believe she'll probably be, if everything works out well, probably the first boys coach to win a state title.
Wow.
As a-
Okay.
Wow.
As a female?
As a
Correct.
female, yeah.
Oh,
Coach.
wow.
Head coach.
Yep,
Is
I
that
think
crazy?
that.
Yeah. A lot of girl power, in my
right.
opinion.
There
In my
you go.
opinion, that's
There you
girl
go.
power.
Here we go, girl power.
Yeah, no, it's really cool just seeing all those lines just kind of get just erased at this point. There's nothing considered where it needs to be a woman teaching women in sports or a man teaching men in sports. It doesn't matter because it's a coach and it's players. It can be interchangeable, and that's really nice to see people realize that now.
Yeah.
And-
Well, it was really interesting, actually, coming out of COVID.
Yeah.
You know, all of that happening because I know a lot of players were afraid to come back, and play by the COVID rules, and just getting ready to get out there. And as a coach, it's even more stressful. And how are you going to relate to these kids? So yeah, it was great to see that success. Definitely. Justin.
Absolutely.
Can I actually say something real quick?
Absolutely.
I actually heard of this quote like many times. It's to all the girls out there watching. Girls can do anything boys can do, if not better.
Ah, very
That's
true.
an asshole. That is such an old quote. That's from the 70s.
Well, you should look up this motivational speaker. His name is Dar Man. I actually got that quote from him.
Oh,
Well,
there you go.
Definitely not a dummy, that's for sure. But
Casey,
But I think it's true. Like, girls can do anything boys can do. It's not better. Yeah.
I
had a
appreciate
question.
that. What were you saying? No, my bad.
no, it's all right. I had a question for Justin because I think he fell asleep on the show.
No, I'm
Well,
not.
I can
I'm
tell
so
you,
awake.
he is very tired. He had a rough night.
Yeah,
but he's
I-
got a pad full of questions in front of him.
Yeah.
All right, so
what
you
is it you want to ask me?
I want you to go to town and start drilling jokes. I want these questions.
Okay. My first question for you, Joe, that I have on my pad, is what have you taken away from your experience here at Four Deep?
Okay, yeah. So definitely the main thing that I'd say I've taken away from this was there's a lot bigger things in the world than just yourself, because the whole thing about the show has been highlighting other people, like showing aspects that a lot of people wouldn't realize in their daily life. Because I feel like even before quarantine, obviously there were some ego things going on throughout the world, but quarantine was something that had everyone living in their own space with themselves as the main centerpiece of everything. And that obviously led to a lot of ego problems throughout the world. A lot of people just realizing that maybe there are more people in the world than just myself, and I need to self-correct that type of thing. And if after quarantine I hadn't joined something like this, I don't know if my ego would be different or not, but having this opportunity has made it just a lot more. Self-reflection is one thing, because you leave the show feeling good that you highlighted somebody and not just yourself the entire time. And I used to love talking about myself was one thing. I was really proud about a lot of these things, but there became a point where humility set in and you stop wanting to brag about it and just do it, and you want to showcase other people who have been putting a lot of work in. Like my good friend Sean Politinsky, he recently went off to college, but he had one of the coolest stories for life that I've ever actually seen. Every year he's biked from, I'm not exactly sure the start and end points of Mass, but it was basically part of Mass to the Cape, and it was 150 miles, 75 each way.
Yep.
And he'd bike there in 2 days, bike back. And he'd also knew how to speak Italian, didn't tell anyone that. Then also he was an artist, like to the point where I was paying him near weekly to draw me art for the Jodas Hour and stuff and all the merch. And no one really would have known about certain things there because he was such a humble kid that he wouldn't tell that many people about it. I had him on the show and promoted that episode as much as I could. I had a speed lapse of him drawing my logo for me so that more people would want to see the episode, get some attention during that. And highlighting that story made me so happy because me and him have become great friends now. He's genuinely one of my best friends from high school now. He has been a great kid that I've known since sophomore year. And he went through a whole journey for confidence, trying to just be happy with himself and what he's done, but he didn't push it into people's faces. And that is kind of how this show is too, where we have humility to show other people stuff, and we're doing the work to do it, but we're not walking around bragging that we're humble or bragging that we're showcasing other people. We do this show, we love doing it, and it's a great time. So I think that would definitely be the biggest takeaway from this.
Cool. Good answer.
Yeah, I like that answer too.
So, Dom, we are ready for a third break. Are you okay
my
staying
goodness,
for one
already?
last section?
Already? Wow.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Awesome.
This has been Jodas running the boards. Catherine Conley, a.k.a. Casey. Justin Ferrer, also known as the Sportsmaster. And Lucy Cabral, a.k.a. the Paparazzi. As well as Dominic Damiano joining us over the phone. We'll be right back with more 4D Sports Talk after this. Hello and welcome back to 40 Sports Talk on 1320 AM radio WARA. This is Joe Dez for my last show before going to Michigan State. Still have Catherine Conley, a.k.a. KC, Justin Ferreira, also known as the Sportsmaster, and Luis Gabriel, also known as the Paparazzi, with me. And we also have Dominic Damiano, the runner of the show, right on the phone with us right now.
We do, and we have a few more questions from Justin, right?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. What are you looking to study at Michigan State?
So the major that I thought it was for a while was communications, and I had applied for communications to every school I applied to. Found out about 2 weeks before the deadline for our majors to be set, I was in the full wrong major. That if I did communications, I was going to be like talking at business meetings.
Oh,
So-
no.
Major is broadcast journalism, it turns out. Was
There
not
you
sure
go.
for a bit. Did not know that.
Oh, man. Broadcast journalism?
Yeah, so that's technically what it's
There you
called,
go.
because I didn't realize it'd be technically journalism, because when we think about it, we're all writing down questions. We all study and write down stuff during the show.
Yeah, I always thought this line of work would be communications
Right,
at
like
first.
That's
Right.
what that
Yeah.
sounds like. It'd make the most sense because it's just
Yeah.
talking to each other. But then you realize 90% of our work is what we do behind the scenes, writing down stuff, taking
Yeah.
notes,
Doing
studying.
homework, yeah.
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 And you'd think that broadcast journalism would mean more of like writing for a sports newspaper or something like that, but it's not. It's weird.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that was a real wake-up call at a point. I realized I've been thinking about this fully wrong, I guess. But no, broadcast journalism, we're going to be good. It's going to be nice.
Excellent.
And then at Michigan State, I might as well shout this out real quick, is this program called Spartan Vision, where every sport besides basketball and football, it's on this thing called Big Ten Plus, which is a streaming service. And the Spartan Vision department works with that. They'll be running cameras on the scoreboard, doing the announcing for those sports. And I'm going to be doing that this year. But the coolest part, this girl, Ava Meehan from my high school, who I announced for this year, she's going to junior year right now, committed to Penn State University for field hockey as a junior. That's mind blowing. That's D1 Big
Wow.
Ten sports. But the crazy thing, 2 years when she's in college, I'm going to be a junior. By then, I should hopefully be announcing at least some play-by-play and some color commentary. Michigan State plays Penn State in field hockey every year, and it's broadcast on Big Ten Plus. I will be announcing her 2 years after I finished announcing her at the end.
Wow. How
Wow.
cool is that?
That's what's mind-blowing. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. It's insane.
How
I
cool
saw
is
it and my
that?
mind was blown.
Hey, I got another question. Do you think you'll be doing a sideline reporting like on ESPN on Michigan State football?
You know, I actually really do want to do that, Casey. That seems
I
like
think
that'd
you
be
should.
awesome.
You
Because
would be
I-
awesome for it.
Because I want to plan on watching college football as long as my mother is okay with it. That way I could maybe see you on TV.
Casey, I'm happy you said that. Wow. Okay. So no, I've been focusing on a lot of the other aspects about that. I've meant to be focusing on that a little bit more too, because that's one of the things I want to have in the arsenal. I'm gonna be looking into that a little bit more. That you've said that, Casey. Thank
Yeah,
you so
the
much for that.
ESPN.
No, just the sideline reporting and all, because I was thinking I could do that professional level. Fully forgot that I could do that at college level.
Oh, yeah.
You can easily do that for
Yeah,
Big Ten.
easily.
Oh yeah.
You actually might have just saved me there a little bit, Casey. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Well, Brittany Mahan, who was our intern, she did it. She did it for Boston Comcast Sportsnet for the Celtics,
that's
and
awesome.
Yep,
managed-
and the hockey too.
yeah, and for the Bruins, she was the on scene, like set everything up for the. I forget that girl's name with the long.
Nesson?
Yeah, no, it was for Nesson, but it was for the Bruins. She used to arrange the staging or.
Oh, setting
where
up
they would
the
broadcast.
booth, the cameras.
No, the sideline. Like if there was a sideline reporter, she'd set up the camera, make sure that all the wireless was all set, and
Yep.
I think like when Captain Tappan used to do it. That's how long ago she did it.
Yep.
When Captain Tappan was the sideline reporter for the Bruins,
Okay.
and then she used to work with Jerry Remy and Donna Sillo in the booth for the Red Sox.
Right. She's gone a long way, also. A
Oh.
real long way. Yeah.
Yeah,
Brittany
no,
Mahan.
no wonder that name sounds familiar. Like whenever I would watch the Red Sox game, like with Don Orsillo and Jerry Remy, like reporting.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, that name does sound familiar. With Catherine Tappan.
Her famous claim to fame is when she was helping managing the booth, and she was giving Jerry Remy her commercial, and it blew out of the booth, onto the field, into the Red Sox cleanup hitters circle there.
Oh.
And if you Google the best of Jerry Remy, you can hear him. He says, "Well, there's my commercial right at the on-deck batter's box down by the Red Sox."
Yeah, that.
And you see Brittany in the background, like losing her mind, like she didn't know what to do.
Oh.
Like, I know who that person is.
Yeah, I also want to comment. It's nothing related to Joe Dez, actually. Every time I would put on the Red Sox game, it's actually weird not hearing Jerry Remy announcing it.
Yeah,
Oh,
It's not the same without him, you know?
for
no,
sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Justin, what else you got? Got a couple minutes here before
all
we
right.
have cake.
What are you looking to explore in the future?
One thing that I want to look into is I've enjoyed the whole interview aspect a whole lot for this thing. So obviously I want to still work on the sports announcing and sports side. I'd also want to focus on, there's you know what 60 Minutes is, obviously. There's a lot of shows like 60 Minutes, just everything like that, where you're interviewing people about their lives, but it's more of a deep dive into it, where it's a little bit documentary style. And when I was filming that documentary for the final season of announcing, I had some of the best times I've ever had on that. It felt really nice having a finished product. You see a journey in your mind, and you're mapping it out. You don't know exactly how it's going to go, but you know what scenes you want to get. And when you have it all culminate into the final product, it's just so satisfying to see.
Oh, yeah.
And if I can focus on doing stuff like that for the future, then I would love to do that, because there's so many things in the world that you can explore. It's
Absolutely.
pretty crazy.
There's a lot of stories. We were talking about that during one of the breaks. That's what this is all about. It's all about stories. I just love 60 Minutes.
Yeah,
by the
60
way.
Minutes is so good.
Love it. Love the style of it. Love how they produce the show. They do a really good job with delving, into people's lives.
What show Anderson Cooper's on? Is that 60 Minutes? Try to remember that.
I have no idea.
Yeah, Anderson Cooper does something like that, right?
Something similar.
Something
I don't
similar,
know that it's on 60 Minutes.
Yeah,
but
I have no clue exactly what it is, but
Yeah.
he does something similar to 60 Minutes, and that whole line of work just seems, it's sustainable is
Yep.
the thing. It's never going to be something that ends, really. There's always
Right.
new stories to find in the world.
Right.
Something happens one day, there's going to be a story that happens that day.
Yep.
Next day, a new story. That's just how it works in the world.
Yep.
So I feel like that
Yeah.
that would be a really nice transition eventually.
Cool. That's great. That's great. What else you got, Justin?
That's it. I'm good.
You gonna miss Joe?
Yes.
I'm gonna miss Joe too.
No,
Yeah,
no,
me
I'm gonna miss
too.
you guys too. It's going to be
He's
weird.
gone, tell you the truth.
What's that?
So I'm glad he's finally gone.
Don's already moving on, right? Jeez.
Yeah, another intern gone.
Dom's in the denial stage of grief right now is what it is. He hasn't accepted it yet.
Yes.
Yeah, he's
yes.
pretending.
He'll be counseling all day Sunday. I just can't watch the Red Sox. It'll add to me getting emotionally upset.
Aw. Well, Joe, we wish you the very, very best. I know you're gonna go far.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. We'll always remember that I started here is the one thing. So, guess this is going to be time for the final sign-off. Dom, thank you so much for everything you've done. I would not be here without you. I really do appreciate it. Lucy, Justin, KC, thank you guys so much for welcoming me in here. You guys are never mean to me at all. You welcome me with open arms. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so-
Our pleasure.
Thank you guys so much for the memories over the last year and a half almost. This has been Joe Dez for the final time before we're going to Michigan State. Signing off. This was with Catherine Conley, a.k.a. KC, Justin Ferreira, also known as the Sportsmaster, Lucy Cabral.
That's all right. Pause it.
Okay, and that was the end of the show.
Oh.